The Play Absolutely podcast with Dr. Sue Jennings and Dr. Andy Hickson.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Play Absolutely podcast. How you doing, Sue?
A bit hot, Andy, I must say, but nevertheless.
A bit hot. It is sweltering here. I mean, I keep mopping my brow. I've turned we don't have aircon here. It's the UK. Of course we don't have aircon. But I turn my fans off because fans and microphones don't mix. So, yes, I think during this recording, we're going to get quite hot and sweaty. Well, I am, certainly. But have you had a good week? Have you had a playful week?
Yes. It's interesting that once it starts to get very hot, one starts to think of ways to play that don't require lots of physical energy.
Or lots of ways to play outside where you can cool off, like water play, for example, one of your favourites. That's fabulous to do outside.
Well, my safeguard, if I'm still indoors and just too hot, is I have a jug full of ice cubes and a face cloth, and I soak the face cloth on the ice cubes, and it lowers your body temperature so quickly. Highly recommended.
Well, yeah. I mean, I do something slightly different than that, only because our ice cubes are not just ordinary tap water. We use special water because I don't know if our viewers know, but I have suffered with kidney stones in the past, and some tap waters aggravate that. So as much as possible, I drink boiled water or carbonated water.
Yes, I do too.
But for me, the indoor trick is not ice cubes, but it's just a cold shower. I mean, when we lived in Malaysia, a cold shower you had, or a cold swim in the river, you had multiple times a day.
Yes.
Nothing beats just it doesn't even have to be freezing cold, just a tepid or a room temperature shower. Brings it all down, refreshed for a few hours, then jump in the shower again.
Not forgetting the ice cream on the way.
Well, yeah, I'm sticking to my regime. All 2026, 2 meals a day. So breakfast, supper, nothing outside those meals. So no snacks for me, and no lunch either. And seems to be doing me all right at the moment. That means if I have ice cream, I have to have it as part of my evening meal.
Yes, so it could
but
be a
nothing
pudding
afterwards.
in the evening, or you could have it with cereal for breakfast.
Yeah, I think that's pushing it a bit for me. Ice cream for breakfast,
Why not?
maybe on my birthday, but yeah, not every day. I think, yeah.
So you're sticking to 2 meals a day still?
Yeah. And you know, I don't have a craving for food in the day, and I've now just about lost my craving for food in the evenings as well. Just cups of tea. That does the trick. So yeah. I'm living well on it, feeling strong, feeling healthy, and now something that is going to come up in our play in the news this episode that I'm not sure you're aware of, because you weren't aware of the other one, and it's not something that we've discussed or prepared for. But did you know that on the 5th of August, it is National Play Day?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So the UK has its own Play Day on the 5th of August. So I know we haven't prepared anything
Play
yet.
Therapy Day.
Yeah, maybe we want to do something for that day. I think it's a Wednesday, so it's not our normal podcast day. So we can't do a podcast special unless we do an extra. Maybe that could be our first live.
That would be fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
that would be a lot of fun.
Let's have a think. We got a week or two to think about that. Yeah. So I know one of the topics that you were interested to talk about today was work where there is a lot of play already involved in that work.
Mhm.
I mean, automatically we can think of things like a play therapist, a play worker. But what about jobs where you wouldn't normally associate sort of play being a part of the job? What jobs have you come across or thought about that involve a lot
Well,
of play?
one that just happened very recently when I went for a new hearing test, and
Okay.
the audiologist, after doing all the tests, got two pots, and one had got it looked like pink shaving cream in it, and one had got white shaving cream. They were actually thicker than that, and he took a
Okay.
dollop of each and started mixing them together. And I thought, yeah,
Wow.
messy play. Wow. So he was moulding them and moulding them until apparently the pink was a firming agent on the white. So they had to be mixed very, very
Okay.
well.
And he did it with his hands, did he?
Yes.
Wearing gloves?
No.
Really?
I was very surprised.
Ah. 'Cause that
I
sounds a bit
mean,
like how you mix epoxy resin. You've got the
yes.
hardener and the resin, but if you
Mm,
touch it, it's deadly on your
mm.
fingers. You can't wash it off.
And having completely blended it together, he
Hmm.
then got a rather large-sized syringe and
Right.
stuffed half of it in and injected it into one ear,
But
but
one of
not
your ears?
yes, not deep, but so a mould was made,
Oh,
and
right.
then he did the
Yes.
other ear. So I thought, yeah, yes, messy
Ah, I hope
play.
he remembered to mark them left and right ear so he doesn't mix
Yes.
them up.
So you wouldn't think of audiologists as a job where you did messy play, would you?
You wouldn't.
I mean, okay, you could
Hmm.
immediately think about a chef. I
Uh-huh.
mean, lots of things that chefs make and mix and mould. That's actually quite a good little phrase: make, mix, and mould.
Yeah.
Involve turning messy stuff into some kind of form, don't they? And midwives
Hmm.
doing childbirth. It has to be messy. It can't not be.
I wonder how many midwives would say that it's play, though.
Yes. Maybe they need to think about having a playful attitude towards it.
Indeed, but not letting the mother giving birth know, because I'm sure with all that pain, she doesn't want to just think the midwife's playing with her.
Mm,
But yes, so there's some jobs where play comes naturally,
mm,
but I mean there are some jobs where people inject play just to sort of, I don't know, make the job more interesting. I remember one of my early jobs when I was still at school. I did a summer job as a postman and a Christmas job. Yeah, I did a bit in the summer, a bit in Christmas, December, and it's very tedious and long hours. Hurts the feet, postman. So big up all you postmen out there. I know it looks easy, but I found it tough. But one of the things uh, playing, I noticed, because in those days, I don't know if it's still the same, probably is, you had a big frame for the patch where you delivered, and each frame had a little section for each house. And you got a bundle of letters, and basically you would take a letter, you put it in the right thing, you'd put it in. But as you got skilled at it, you would play more. So you wouldn't just put it in, you would try to kind of throw it in and doof, doof. And sometimes you could get, it was really, really quite fun. Although a lot of them did end up on the floor. You just got to make sure the supervisor wasn't watching. So that was a playful activity inside a job that's not really a playful job.
mm. But it made it more bearable.
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah, yeah. That was good fun.
mhm,
Um, but I mean, I suppose there are a lot of jobs like that where you can be playful in how you undertake the job.
mm.
And being playful, as you say, it helps helps the hours go quicker, I suppose. But any other jobs where play is officially part of the job?
Well,
Hmm.
obviously a lot of gardening and a lot of farming activities that
Right.
you do outdoors. You have to get messy in a playful sort of way to plant, don't you?
Do you? I just think of my back hurting. That's not very playful when I'm gardening.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, no. Oh, you got another one?
Well, I was just going to say maybe we should be encouraging in schools
Hmm.
the art of playfulness so
The
that children
art of
start to
playfulness.
learn if they can't solve a problem, for example, okay, maybe I can
Hmm.
be playful about it and use a different bit of my brain and maybe I can
Hmm.
solve it. I can't
I
see
mean,
you, by the way, Andy.
you can't see me?
No.
Let's hope nothing's happened again as from before. Right. So I can see myself. I'm recording, but
I can see
hmm.
myself, but I can't
Right.
see you.
Okay. So when that happened last time, I was totally lost, wasn't I, from the recording? But it did say a new recording was starting.
Right.
But you can hear me.
Mm.
Yeah, you can hear me.
I could
And
hear
it
you,
does
but
say that I'm recording.
uh,
So let's see here. I can't see any
mm,
adjustments that need making.
mm.
So I hope. Okay. That is. I wonder if we should actually just restart this and just tag it on. I'll tell you what, just to
Yeah.
make sure it's recording, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the recording for us and just restart it. Okay.
Okay.
And then
You don't
we'll
want me to do
edit it.
anything.
No, don't you for now, don't do anything. So apologies to our listeners for this faffing about. We're not editing anything out. We're going to stop and restart the application. Do that. Welcome back. What a crazy session we've had. We've been jumping in and out. Don't know what has recorded, what hasn't recorded. We're talking about what were we talking about? This podcast has gone crazy. Maybe it's something to do with the heat because it's boiling. But we were talking about adults in play. I don't know how much of the previous conversation was recorded, Sue. We were also talking about National Play Day. So help me. Where are we?
Yes, I
We
want to
are
talk
recording at the
about.
moment.
I want to talk about where we're doing play therapy
Play therapy. All right.
because
Where is play therapy at the moment? And something about that some people are suggesting that play therapy should not be done with adults. Is that right? Just children.
that's right.
Yeah.
That the sort of therapy you undergo when you're training to be a therapist. For play therapists, it should be either psychotherapy or an arts therapy, not a play therapy.
Okay.
But leading on from there, I wanted to talk about
Sorry,
where. Go on.
sorry, just on that point. So is it that play therapy, it's not that play therapy should be done with adults, it's that play therapy practitioners, as part of their supervision, shouldn't have play therapy, but should have another kind of
Yeah,
supervisionary
not as part of their
therapy.
supervision, as part of their training program.
Right. Okay.
So most therapy training courses have an obligation for students to undergo their own personal therapy
Okay.
so that the therapeutic life of the therapist doesn't get in the way of the child. My contention is simpler than that I don't think we should put other people through something we're not prepared to go through ourselves.
Indeed.
And because otherwise we've got no notion of how the client is experiencing the therapy if we've never experienced it ourselves.
No, absolutely.
Mm. But leading out of that, Andy, is also this whole question of where we do therapy in the first place.
In a therapeutic room, outdoors, on the beach, in a castle.
I mean, I knew one very, very, very child-friendly pediatrician, and he used to do his therapeutic work with children going for a walk.
Ah.
He didn't believe in sitting anywhere unless at the end of the walk, if you'd been walking in the woods, you could sit on a tree log and have a chat. But he believed in the physical motion while he and the child talked about what was troubling. And they might pick up sticks and stones on the way to demonstrate something, for example, or point to a tree or take a leaf. He was a very interesting, but he was quite individual in that. I mean, traditionally, all play therapy happened in the playroom. But one or two pioneers, and one in particular who I hope we'll interview sometime and share on the podcast, is called Alison Chown.
Right.
And she was, or is, a pioneer of play therapy in the outdoors. And initially she was seen as a bit of an eccentric. But she stuck to her guns, published 2 books, and provides a training for therapists wanting to work outdoors. And it's quite remarkable the success she's had with some children who just aren't comfortable working indoors. It's like the children that go to the forest school who can't manage a classroom. It's a similar sort of thing. Now, having more or less established play therapy in the outdoors, that it's no longer an eccentricity, it's a valid choice to make. There's another choice about play therapy in a different space or in the child's home. Now, my mate Anne Katanak was convinced that by going to the child's home was less traumatic than going to another strange place, particularly for a child, say, who'd been adopted and fostered and had already lived in several different spaces, to adjust to yet another space. So she had what she called her therapeutic mat, which was blue. And she would unfold it and explain to the child it was on this mat where the therapy happened. If the child got off the mat, then the therapy stopped.
So it's quite easy for the child, if they wanted it to stop, they'd just step off the mat.
Yeah, indeed. And she, in the last parts of her life, did all her therapy in children's homes. And
so not in children's homes, but in children's homes, in their houses with their parents.
And it would depend where the family decided it was the best space to do it in, often the living room, and whether or not the child wanted a parent in the therapy or not. Because some children initially with a stranger don't feel comfortable.
So what happens in that scenario, Sue? So, somebody's coming to do play therapy with a child. The parent is uncomfortable about leaving the child alone with a stranger, and so insists on being present.
It's usually the child wants the parent there initially.
Right, but just supposing the scenario where it's the parent that doesn't want to leave the child on their own with what they deem as a stranger.
Well, the therapist would then ask the child, is that okay for Daddy to stay? And the child might say no.
I know, but even if the child says no, what happens in that situation? Would the therapist just stop
I think that
Or
the therapist would suggest a new negotiation has to happen,
right.
because before the therapy actually starts, there will have been an assessment and a meeting with the parents anyway.
So is play therapy, can that ever be part of sort of like a court order? I mean, like a family says like you must have play therapy, otherwise you're going to have this, that, or the other sanctions, or is that not part of like a family court process or anything?
Now, therapy of any sort is not prescribed as an alternative to punishment.
Right.
So
Okay.
nobody is ever told you either go to play therapy or you go to prison.
Okay.
But
Okay.
courts
But
can recommend play therapy.
okay. I thought there was some legal mechanism. Maybe this is just for adults. We'll give you a suspended sentence, for example, as long as you undertake this program, like an
Yeah,
alcoholics
that
program or
that's usually a very specific rehabilitation program
right.
or a new skills training program.
Okay.
Also related to the play therapy, but not the same, parents can be referred to parenting classes,
Right. Yes, I've heard of
and
that.
that can be a condition
Mm.
of a non-custodial sentence, for example.
Or we won't consider putting your children into care if you take some parenting classes.
That's right.
Mm.
And
Okay.
there's usually appointed some sort of family worker to monitor how the parents are doing
Mm.
and how the child's well-being is.
Okay.
So there are
Okay.
lots of variations, but it's not, to my knowledge, any sort of therapy as such doesn't come into that category.
Mm.
It's support,
Okay.
skills, counselling, and so on.
Mm. Now, Sue, I'm not sure if it was recording when we did the news. So I'm going to redo this week's in the
Mm-hmm.
news. Viewers, apologies. If it has already recorded, then I'll leave the original recording and just delete this little bit.
Yes.
Right? We're not editing anything out. Don't worry. You get to see everything, even our mistakes. But if it did record, then this little bit I'll delete out. But if it didn't, you'll be glad that I put the extra energy in for this. So let's go to this week's Play in the News. And we start off in the UK. Warwickshire County Council launched a Summer of Play campaign last week, tied to National Play Day on the 5th of August. The council is encouraging residents, families, schools, community groups and care settings to celebrate play through outdoor activity, storytelling, music, hobbies, games, creativity and everyday playful moments. Now, this is a nice counterpoint to school-focused play policy. It frames play as a whole community well-being practice, not just a children's service. It also links play with older people, memory, connection, and community belonging. It suggests that play is not only something children grow out of, it is something communities can grow back into. Next, abroad, we move to Venezuela, a country suffering earthquakes and coups. Save the Children reported that children affected by Venezuela's recent earthquakes are showing signs of distress, including sleep difficulties, irritability, and fear responses. The organisation says it has set up safe spaces where families can bring children to play, regain a sense of normality, and receive psychosocial support. UNICEF also reported a major humanitarian response after the 24th of June earthquakes, estimating hundreds of thousands of children in need of assistance. Now, this is play as emotional recovery. After disaster, play is not trivial. It helps children regain rhythm, relationship, expression, and some sense that the world can still be safe. One could say that after the ground shakes, children need more shelter. They need somewhere safe enough to play again. That's this week's Play in the News. Yeah.
And both of those items, Andy, are very, very welcome.
They are.
And-
Oh, Sue, you've done something to your mic. You are suddenly
Have I?
super loud. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. So,
Okay.
yes, they are both. Go on.
For quite different reasons, in a sense. I mean, the Venezuelan one, in a country already affected by chaotic politics, external interference with their political system, everything. Then to have two actual major earthquakes, I mean, was devastating for everybody. And for people to see that the play, which is often dismissed as not so important, the play, maybe we should set up an organisation of Play Without Borders, like they've got Médecins Sans Frontières.
Yeah, we talked about that before, Play Without Borders. Do you remember we talked with Marina from the West Bank in Palestine
did indeed,
about that? Yeah.
Hi,
Marina, if you're watching.
How can we get teams together to actually respond with that?
Okay. Viewers, comments below, please.
Mm-hmm.
How do we do it?
Because that's one thing that when the doctors volunteer, they're far less likely to be challenged than other specialists. Medicine really gets you through the borders. So it's how do we get a play specialist through the border?
I want to ask you a question, Sue, whether you think this is play. One of my children, not too long ago, they were suffering from, we thought it was chicken pox. They came out in a lot of spots. Very, very itchy. But then they started actually having fun with the spots, mostly just through counting and going, oh, I got another one. Oh, look, there's another one. How many am I going to get? But it wasn't in a sort of like a scare. Oh, no, what's happening? Yeah, there was, right there was 35. Now I've got 37. How would you regard that kind of play? Is that a positive thing, or?
I thought it sounds to me like an extraordinary coping mechanism. Because I mean, the chicken pox spots are horrible to deal with. And if you scratch them, then you end up with a scar and it gets sore and it gets infected and so on.
But it does go to show that, you could take the most horrible or extreme or nasty situations and actually just from thinking about it or dealing with it in a different way, in a playful way, you can turn something that could be quite tortuous, maybe not that extreme, but into something that doesn't affect you so adversely as it was doing.
Well, if you remember when we were in Malaysia for our long trip, and for some reason, Hal, your younger brother, got chicken pox when we were on a visit outside of the jungle. So we made the decision that we didn't want to take him back in again until he was no longer contagious.
Not because of him. We didn't want to give anybody else the chicken pox, the temia.
Well, it could have been devastating for the tribal people.
For the community, for sure.
So one day I took him to the beach to enjoy the sand and the sea and so on. And there was a group of Australian medical students there. And they said to me, do you mind if we look at your son's chicken pox? And I said to Hal, was that okay? They weren't going to touch him or anything. They just wanted to look. And they said, what we suggest you do is to bathe him as much as possible in seawater. Because the salt will help the blistering.
Yes,
so there and then we had medical treatment on a Malaysian beach from Australian medical students. But they were so right. I mean, 3 times a day I just poured seawater over him, and he recovered. The actual spots recovered very quickly.
He did pick one. He has a scar, doesn't he, still, from where he picked it?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
well, illnesses.
talking about August the 5th,
Oh, yes, August the 5th, the day of play.
I
Yeah,
think
we'll
that's
do
wonderful.
something. Yeah,
We'll do
yeah.
something, but
Next
let's hope our
podcast, we'll let
viewers
people
will.
know.
Let's hope our viewers will do
I
lots
hope
of
so.
things as well.
Hmm.
You know, if Warwickshire County Council is marking that day, let's all follow their example and do something
Yeah,
playful on the 5th.
indeed. Okay, so it's been a bit of a chaotic podcast. I'm not sure what the final the final edit. I mean, it's going to be edited because, but we're not going to take out stuff. We're just going to try and make it so that at least it's watchable. But I'm not sure what's recorded, what hasn't been recorded, so don't even know how long it is. But anything else you want to say before we go on to our final segment, Sue?
Well, I think the big thing for people at the moment is how do you deal with the heat on the one hand and staying playful on the other?
Yeah.
Because our immediate response is not to use too much energy, not to move too quickly. And of course, playfulness involves movement.
It does.
So how can we reduce the movement but still remain playful?
And I think I'm going to go to the thing I suggested. As soon as we finish recording this, I'm going to have a cold shower, cool off, and then, maybe set up the garden for some water play with the children later on when they finish school. Okay, so as we end all of our podcasts, we suggest a playful activity to, I don't know, help if you're feeling a bit anxious at the moment, you're feeling the blues. What have you got for our viewers this week, Sue?
Well, bearing in mind the heat, there are 2 parts to this suggestion.
Okay.
One is don't forget, if you have a
Right.
garden, to keep the water topped up for the birds.
Right, of course. Yeah.
But together with that, if you're feeling a bit hot, and even hot and bothered, get a bowl of water yourself. Pick a little twig off a bush or a tree or wherever,
Naughty,
and use
naughty.
it to flick water over yourself.
Okay.
Because with a little branch with leaves on it, or a piece of rosemary or lavender, you could do the same.
Oh, right. Yeah.
The amount of water is small, so instead of splashing you, it sprinkles you. And it's a quite different sensation. You're being sprinkled with water. A lovely way to get cool.
Okay. Yes, I like that. Bit of water play always helps. Well, my activity is building on from something I suggested last week. It's another weather-related one. So hold out a hand and imagine that it's a tiny weather map. Name what is happening inside you as weather, not as a problem. Storm in my chest, fog in my head, fast wind in my legs, rainy thoughts. Then use your finger to slowly draw a change in the weather on your palm. A circle for the sun, waves for wind calming down, dots for rain passing, a line for a path through the fog, and finish by saying, the weather is here, but I am bigger than the weather.
Lovely.
Yeah.
That's really lovely, Andy.
That's this. That's my activity, your activity. We've drawn this chaotic episode of the Play Absolutely podcast to an end. Please, if you've enjoyed it, if you've enjoyed the chaos, if you enjoyed the mixed sound recording, because I'm sure it's not all perfect, please give us a like. Subscribe to the channel, share, and drop a comment below. That always helps us. But for now, this is Andy and Sue. I'm going to say, don't forget to play.
I'm exactly the same. Don't forget to play.
To play. Ciao.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye.